A room temperature egg ages more in 1 day than a refrigerated egg ages in a week. So, keeping this box at or a little below 40 degrees will help what's in this box stay fresher longer. But don't keep your eggs in those little slotty things in the door. Door spends too much time wagging around in hot kitchen air, and shelf bins, like the ones that come with your refrigerator, promote drying and breakage. So, keep fresh eggs in their own carton. It's designed to hold them. And keep it towards the back of the shelf. Oh, and if you plan to hard cook your eggs, take the carton, put a rubber band around it, and keep it on its side for at least 12 hours. That way, the yolk will stay centered in the white instead of settling off to the side. Once upon a time, eggs were considered germ-free zones. Purity in a shell. I mean, Rocky drank like a glass load and got, what, a dozen sequels? But ever since that gastrointestinal bad boy, Salmonella, skunked his way into the hen house, we've all become deathly afraid of an undercooked egg, be it in mayonnaise, hollandaise, a soft-boiled egg, or, well, eggs over easy. Heck, most restaurants won't even serve eggs over easy anymore. Too much liability. And when they do, well, let's just say we're working from a whole different culinary dictionary. You're some kind of food cop, aren't you?
I'm an epidemiologist. How did you know?
Yeah, you got that look. Probably work for some shadowy governmental agency.
Well, the CDC's not really shadowy.
Yeah, okay, so what's with eggs?
A few years ago, Salmonella figured out how to get into the chicken's reproductive system.
Oh, this sounds like some kind of twisted conspiracy. Let's talk odds.
We fear that about 1 in 10 to 1 in 20,000 eggs are infected internally with Salmonella.
So basically, I run about the same risk of getting sick from properly handled eggs as I would, say, getting bitten by a rabid squirrel in downtown Detroit?
Well, one egg may just contain a few Salmonella. The problem comes if you pool a bunch of infected eggs together. And then if you mishandle the suspect eggs, hold them at temperatures conducive to bacterial growth, or undercook them.
So we're talking 165 here.
We prefer to say 170 to 175.
That's enough to turn a yolk into a hard little rubber ball. How many outbreaks do you see from home cooking, though?
Well, most of our problems come from food service operations.
So what's your advice?
Well, we recommend that the elderly, expectant mothers, the very young, and anybody that has a problem with their immune system just steer clear of over-easy homemade ice cream, homemade hollandaise sauce, eggnog, classic Caesar salad.
You expect life to still be worth living. Okay, thanks, Doc. Of course, now the new irradiation systems are promising the heroic return of the salmonella-free egg to a grocery store near you. It only seems right to preserve the legacy of the properly eased-over egg. It all starts with a small non-stick skillet, over low heat, a little pat of butter, and we'll let that melt. Now, you could use some other fat, I admit, but in this case, the fat's not really there to prevent sticking. The pan can do that by itself. In this case, it's really there for flavor, and the flavor of butter just naturally goes with the flavor of egg. The only other tool you want to have hitting this pan is a spatula, rubber spatula. If you get one with a red handle, it usually means that it's heat-proof, which is the right thing for this pan. Never metal, never anything abrasive on this pan ever, or it will do you wrong. As soon as you see the butter start to foam, get your eggs ready. The fresher, the better. Just crack them right into the pan. And then here's a little trick. Tilt the pan, just lift the handle about an inch off of the cooktop, and just hold it there for a moment until the outer white starts to set. These are nice fresh eggs. You can tell by looking at them because the yolks are standing up so nice and tall, like the hat. I'm just starting to get some bubbles around the edges, so I'm going to go ahead and ease the handle back. Moving around the pan just a little bit at this point is good because some of those bubbles that are slowly forming under the white are going to want to get out. And if you don't jiggle the pan a little to work them off to the edge, they'll come straight up through the middle, torn white, ugly egg, game over. Now's a good time to go ahead and season. Eggs need salt, so I'm just going to sprinkle on a little bit of fine sea salt. I don't use kosher salt on these kind of eggs. And I also like to use a pepper that's a very fine grind because I don't want to bite into any big chunkies. This may be simple, but it isn't rustic. And I'm really wanting to flip these, but I'm going to fight the urge because I see that the thicker white has not started to set yet. Be patient. All in all, it's going to take at least a minute to a minute and a half to gently cook the egg on this side. After that, things are going to happen really fast. Okay, here comes the flip. Now, this is really a lot easier than it looks, I promise. The secret, believe it or not, fresh eggs. The fresher the egg, the stronger the membrane that's surrounding the yolk, which means it's going to have more resilience when it lands upside down. Now, down on the heat and count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the reverse flip. You see, the secret is to pop your wrist, get it airborne, and then bring the pan up to meet the egg. And then off immediately onto the plate. Who are you? Want to see a trick?
No.
Okay, but just this once. 2 eggs, equal in dignity. Here in Fair Diner, where we lay our scene. One is cooked, the other is raw. But which is which, O thee of slack jaw?
Give me back my hat.
Okay, pay attention. Egg. We spin. We stop. We release. Nothing. Hence, cooked egg. Egg number 2. We spin. We stop. We release. And it spins again as if by mysterious forces. Hence, raw egg. Here's your hat. Eggs can stick to cookware with the mysterious and ferocious force. But foods high in protein usually do. You can fight back with a good non-stick skillet. Gone are the days of temperamental Teflon. Today's non-stick coatings are high-tech marvels. Tough and wicked slick. But don't judge a pan by its coating alone. Successful egg cookery depends on heat control. So beware of cheap pans that can warp or have hot spots or may not even be flat in the first place. Avoid spending a bundle by shopping at your local restaurant supply house. For my money, the ultimate marriage of yolk and albumin can be found in the culinary alchemy of scrambled eggs. A dish whose magic lies in the mysterious do-si-do of the proteins, fats, emulsifiers, salts, and water that is the egg. Now, there's no mystery to producing great fluffy plates of scrambled, but there is more to it than crack and stir. Start by melting a couple of teaspoons of butter over medium-low heat. Now, since our new pans of the non-stick variety, we don't need a lot of fat. We do need a little. It's not so much to prevent sticking, but to promote flavor. Now, as for the egg cracking itself, don't do it on the edge of a cup or of a bowl. That'll only punch wee little beats of shell into the egg, which is nasty. Do your cracking on the counter, or even better, onto a plate that can easily be whisked away later for washing. Now, eggs can be cooked straight up, just fine. But you're going to get higher volume and a lot nicer texture if you add a little liquid. I like whole milk, although you could use something as light as water or as heavy as cream. Whatever you do, don't add more than a tablespoon per egg. Now I've got 3 eggs here and 3 tablespoons of milk. Mix well, but don't beat them to death. Eggs don't appreciate violence. Come to think of it, they don't much care for salt either. Long exposure to salt can toughen the final dish, so just stir in a pinch or 2 of salt right before the eggs go into the pan. And as for pepper, wait for the table. Now I like to scramble over 2 different temperatures. I start them real low, just stirring until they just begin to coagulate or form curds. Now, most scrambled eggs go wrong, not because of too high a heat, but because they spend too much time over high heat. Because they're mostly protein, eggs coagulate when they cook, forming a kind of 3D mesh that traps moisture. But over high heat, these proteins squeeze so tight that they'll wring the moisture out of an egg just like a sponge. If you've ever been served a plate of scrambled eggs that floated like an island in a plate of water, well, all that water should have been in the eggs. Okay, there, you see the curds have formed, so now we're going to bring the heat up all the way to high. Don't worry if you don't have gas. This will work on electric too. It's just going to take a little bit longer, that's all. Now keep the pan moving. Try not to stir too much. Think about folding the curds over each other. The whole point here is to increase volume by allowing the moisture inside the eggs to convert to steam, which will lighten up the whole dish. Just fold and shake. Now, as soon as there isn't any more liquid running around the pan, retreat from the heat. Now, I know that looks underdone right now, but believe me, move it around a little bit, and by the time you get it to the plate and the plate to the table, you will have a perfectly cooked set of scrambled eggs. And this leads us to the cardinal rule of egg scrambling. If it looks cooked in the pan, it will be overcooked on the plate. Believe me, you can't get around it. Poet laureate Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote, "There is always a best way of doing everything, even if it be to boil an egg." Now, if Emerson walked it the way he talked it, he would have certainly known that the secret to boiling an egg is to not really boil it at all. He would have started his eggs in just a bit of cold water, adding a teaspoon of salt to help seal any possible cracking. I'm certain that he brought them just to a boil, and then he removed them from the heat, put on the lid, and left them alone for exactly 15 minutes. Then he would have drained them, maybe banging them around the pan to start the cracking. He would finish them up in an ice water bath to stop the cooking, which would prevent rubbery whites and black-tinged yolks. Needless to say, prompt peeling followed. Now, Emerson, obvious hard-cooked fan that he was, certainly would have known that the more cracks in the shell, the easier the peeling goes. Smart guy, that Emerson. Now, we've only crossed the threshold into the egg universe. Emulsified sauces, soufflés, meringues, omelets, they're all still out there, watching, waiting. Should keep us busy for at least 6 or 7 seasons. But in the meantime, we hope you now possess a few more megabytes of egg knowledge than you did, say, half an hour ago. Join us next time when we once again journey into the far-flung corners of the kitchen and return with some really good eats.